You know how insurance companies collect premiums every single month, whether anything happens or not? What if you could do that with your stocks? This week I got paid $100 just for agreeing to buy a stock that I already wanted to own, no matter what the market did. That is stage one of the wheel strategy. And today I'm going to show you the whole system on Robinhood from scratch with real money. Most traders lose money, and I'm one of them sometimes. I'm not your financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. We learn the how here, but the why is always yours to decide. Capital is at risk. Let's get into it. Most people think stocks only make you money in two ways. Either the price goes up and you sell at a profit, or you collect a dividend. And that is true, but there is a third way most beginners never get taught. What if you could get paid just for agreeing to buy a stock you already wanted to own? And then once you own it, what if those shares could pay you every single week just for holding them? That is not some magic loophole. That is the wheel strategy. And once you see how it works, you'll wonder why nobody showed you this sooner. If you get value from this, do me a favor and smash the like button. And if you are new here, subscribe, because every single week I show real trades, real results, and where the money is actually going. The wheel has 3 stages, and I'm going to explain each one using simple analogies that will make this click straight away. Stage 1. You sell something called a cash secured put. Forget that name for a second. Think of it like this. You are an insurance company. When somebody buys car insurance, they pay a premium every single month. Most months, nothing happens. The insurance company just keep the money. That's exactly what you're doing here. You are telling the market, I'm happy to buy this stock if the price drops to a level I choose, and in return, the market pays you a premium. If the stock stays above your price, you just keep the money. If the stock drops to the price or below, you buy the shares. But here's the thing, you only ever do this on stocks that you actually want to own. Either way, you're winning. Stage 2, you own the shares. What do? You become a landlord. You already own the property, the shares. You collect rent on them by selling something called a covered call. You are giving someone else the option to buy your shares at a higher price than where you purchased them. And they pay you the premium for the option. If the stock stays below that price, you keep the shares and you keep the rent. If the stock goes above that price, you sell the shares at the profit and you still keep the rent. Yes, you get paid twice. Stage 3, the wheel resets. If your shares do get sold, you go back to stage 1 and sell another cash secure put. The wheel keeps turning, and every single rotation, you're collecting premium. That is the wheel. Insurance company, landlord, repeat. Before I show you exactly how I do this on Robinhood, there are 2 things that you need to understand. And I promise I will keep this simple, because these 2 things are what separate people who make money selling options from people who lose money buying them. The first one is called Theta. Think of Theta like an ice cube sitting on a table. Every single day, that ice cube gets a little bit smaller. It's melting. Options work exactly the same way. Every option has an expiration date, and every single day that passes, the option loses a tiny little bit of value. That melting is called time decay. Here's why it matters though. When you buy options, time works against you. The ice cube is your money and it's melting away. But when you sell options like we do with the wheel, time works for you. You are the one watching someone else's ice cube melt, while you already have the cash in your pocket. That is why we sell options on this channel. We want time on our side. Every single day that passes is a good day for us. Now, the second thing is called Delta. Delta can get complicated if you let it. But for beginners, all you need to know is this. Delta tells you roughly how likely it is that that stock will hit your strike price by expiration. If you sell a put with a delta of 0.30, there is roughly a 30% chance the stock lands at or below your chosen strike price. That means there is a 70% chance it does not. And you just keep the premium. Free money? Not exactly, but the odds are on your side when you pick the right levels. I don't sit there looking at delta numbers all day trying to pick the perfect one. Instead, I use something much simpler. I call it my traffic light system. Now, this is SoFi here on TradingView, and I've broken the chart into 3 zones. The green zone up here, this is where I'm comfortable selling covered calls. The stock is trading well, I own the shares, and I'm collecting rent. This is landlord territory. The orange zone in the middle here is my happy to buy zone. If the stock pulls back to here, I'm comfortable selling cash secure puts because I would genuinely be happy owning shares at this level anyway. This is insurance company territory. And finally, down here, the red zone. This is what I call the sell a limb zone. If the stock drops to this level, I'm not panicking. I'm going all in. I believe in the companies that I trade long term, and especially at these prices. Now, SoFi at the moment is sitting just above my red zone. When I sold my cash secure puts this week, I knew exactly where I was on the chart and I was comfortable with the decisions. And that's the key. Good decisions first, premium second. Now, let me show you exactly how this looks on Robinhood. Now, here we have SoFi on Robinhood. This week on Market Mondays, I sold 2 cash secure puts on SoFi at $16.50 strike price. You can see my contracts here. But what does that actually mean in plain English? I told the market I am happy to buy 200 shares of SoFi at $16.50 each. And in exchange for making that promise, the market paid me 50 cents per share. 50 cents might not sound like much, but that is $50 per contract. And I sold 2 of them. That is $100 collected this week alone, just for agreeing to buy a stock that I already wanted anyway. Remember, we are the insurance company here. SoFi is paying us a premium for the privilege of potentially selling us shares at our chosen price. Here's the important bit though. My break-even price on this trade is $16. That is the strike price minus the premium collected. Even if SoFi drops, which it has done, and I get assigned these shares, which it looks like I'm going to, my actual cost is $16, not $16.50. The premium gave me the discount on the stock. I'm getting paid to go shopping. So what happens next? 2 things can happen. Either SoFi stays above $16.50 by expiration and I just keep the $100. The insurance company wins, nobody crashed their car. Or SoFi drops below $16.50, which it currently is, and I get assigned 200 shares and the wheel moves to stage 2. This week, it obviously looks like I will be getting assigned. SoFi is trading currently at around $15.57. I'm about to own 200 shares, but am I worried? No, because I already decided before I sold that put that I would be happy owning SoFi at those prices. This is the whole point. Good decisions first, premium second. I own 200 shares of SoFi. I got paid to buy them, and the wheel moves to stage 2. I then become the landlord. Next week, I'll be selling covered calls on those 200 shares. That means I'm giving someone else the opportunity to buy my shares at a price that I've chosen, and they pay me premium for that option, rent. SoFi shares in the portfolio. But where do I set my covered call strike price? This is where the zone system comes back in. I want to sell my calls ideally up here in my green zone. Why? Because if the stock rises to my strike price and my shares do get called away, I'm making money twice on the same trade. Let me spell that out with real numbers because this is where it gets exciting. Say I bought SoFi at $16. I sell a covered call, I collect $50 in premium. SoFi rises above 20 and my shares get called away. Here's what I made. The stock went from $16 to $20. That is $4 per share times 100 shares, $400 in stock appreciation, plus the $50 in premium I collected for selling the call. That is $450 total from one single position. $400 from the stock going up and $50 from the rent, paid twice on the same shares. And remember, I already collected the premium on the cash secure put when I bought those shares in the first place. That means across the full wheel, I got paid when I agreed to buy, I got paid rent whilst I held, and I made profit when the shares got called away. 3 income streams, 1 stock. Now, as we're on the charts here, let me talk you through the delta and theta columns. You'll see up on the right-hand side, we have puts, and on the left, we have calls. Now, obviously, on stage 1 of the wheel, we will be selling our cash secure puts. We have our delta column, and we have our theta column. Now, remember, delta represents the percentage chance that you will have to win your trade. So if we were to look down for the 0.23 delta, this will represent a 77% chance that you will win this trade and that you will collect the premium and not have to buy the shares. Similarly, when we sell our covered calls, which will always be the red column on Robinhood, we will be looking also at our buy and sell zones. We know that $20 to $18 was our sell zone on SoFi. So we'll be looking in these areas to see for good premiums. So for instance, if we were to look here, 2.24 delta, this represents a 76% chance that your shares will not get called away. That's how that works. And then the theta column we've got next to it for ease of use. This represents the amount of time decay that is eliminated by each passing day. Very simple. You sell your cash secure puts over on the left, you sell your covered calls over on the right. The strike price is down here through the center. So this is where the stock is currently trading. So you will always obviously want to sell your covered calls above that. And you will always obviously want to sell your cash secure puts below that over this side. If the stock does not reach the strike price, even better, you get to keep your shares, you keep the rent, and you sell another covered call for next week. The landlord collects again. I want to be clear about something because this is really important for beginners. In the income account, I am not falling in love with these shares. I'm not holding them forever hoping they go to the moon. This is what my ISA's for. In this account, shares are workers. They come in, they earn their keep, and if they get called away, they did their job. I got paid, the wheel starts again. Let me put the whole thing together because this is where it all connects. Stage 1, I sold the cash secure puts on SoFi. Premium is collected, $100. Stage 2, I got assigned 200 shares. I sell covered calls and I collected more premium. Stage 3, either the shares get called away and I go back to selling puts, or they stay with me and I keep collecting rent. The wheel just keeps turning. Every single rotation, money's coming in. Not life-changing money on a small account, but consistent money. And here's what most people miss. It is not about the size of one trade. It's about the system repeating. The number might be small, but the mechanism is not. Where does all the premium actually go, you ask? Because this is the part that ties everything together. And this is why I built this system in the first place. I use my Robinhood account as the income engine. That is where the wheel runs. That is where premium gets collected every single week. But the goal is not to build up a massive pile of cash in that account. The goal is to take the income and move it into the stocks and shares ISA, or the tax-free wrapper account, depending on where you are, Roth IRA in the USA. The ISA is where long-term wealth lives for me, tax-free. The stocks I buy in my ISA account, I'm holding these for years. Any growth, any dividends, completely tax-free. The Robinhood account earns the money. The ISA owns the future. And if you're watching from the USA, the same principle applies. You use your options account to generate the income, and you move that into your Roth IRA. Same system, just a different wrapper, Before I recap everything, if you have made it this far, you're clearly serious about learning this. Hit subscribe and turn on your notifications because every Monday I show the plan and every Friday I show the proof. And you'll not want to miss what happens with SoFi shares this week. Let me just give you a quick version of everything that we've just covered. The wheel strategy has 3 stages. You sell your cash secure puts and you get paid to agree to buy a stock. You're the insurance company. If you get assigned, you sell covered calls on those shares. You're the landlord collecting the rent. If the shares do get called away, you just start again. The wheel just keeps turning. Theta is time decay, and it works in your favor when you're the seller. Think of the melting ice cube analogy. You want to be the one watching it melt, not the one holding it. And you don't need to understand complicated Greek formulas. Just use your zones. Know where you're happy to buy, where you're happy to sell, and where you're happy to go all in. Good decisions first, premium second. If you want to see this in action every single week with real trades, real money, I do Market Mondays where I show the plan, and I do Funded Fridays where I show the proof. What happened, what I got paid, and more importantly, what I do with the money. That all gets shown on there. And if you want to see how I do this same strategy on a more advanced platform, I'm building a full Tasty Trade version of this same video as well. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And remember everyone, here at the Options Brit, we learn the how so we can afford the why. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.